Hello, my name is Elizabeth, and I wanted to share my experience traveling to Seoul last month to try some of the restaurants from the Netflix famous show Culinary Class Wars. Specifically, I wanted to share about how to make reservations, what restaurants I ate at, and more importantly, how were they? So obviously the show is a mega hit sensation coming out last fall and already is planned for season 2 later this year, which I'm so excited for. Having been to Korea a couple times before, this experience where I am actively seeking out, trying out these restaurants from the show, it's given me a new perspective of traveling in Korea. After you've been to a certain country for a couple of times, you start running out of ideas of what to do, where to eat. Once the show came out, it really reignited the urge to go back to Korea and try out all these new restaurants and just to support, some of the favorite chefs that you've seen on the show. And I'll talk a little bit more about who I went to support and who I saw, because I did see some of the chefs in person, and that was a really fun experience. So before I dive in a little bit more, I just want to, put a disclaimer out there that because I am talking about the show and the contestants, the chefs, the restaurants, there is going to be the inevitability of spoilers. I am going to talk about the winner's restaurant and referencing certain moments from the show. So if you haven't already seen it, I do highly recommend that you go watch it because it's an amazing show, especially if you love Korean shows in general, or if you've seen Physical 100, this is way better than that. I highly recommend if you haven't seen it to go watch it. But we'll go ahead and start with how to make a reservation. Korea uses an app called Catch Table. There are 2 different versions of the app. There's a Korean version and a foreigner-friendly version. The restaurants available on each version of the app are going to vary slightly. I did notice that some of the restaurants that were available on the Korean version were not available on the foreigner version. And even if you know Korean, you have to have a Korean phone number and or a Korean credit card, I believe, in order to actually process the reservation itself. Because in order to make the reservation, you do need to put down a deposit just to account for people who no-show. So yes, they do take a deposit once you make a reservation. And the deposit will vary depending on which restaurant it is. So if you go into the Catch Table app, the first thing you'll notice is there's actually already a button that says TV Trending Culinary Show. So if you click on that, it will automatically say on the top, Culinary Class Wars Chefs and Restaurants. So the app already filters out these chefs from the show, and it makes it a lot easier for you to look for who you like and what restaurants you want to try. And if you just click on a random date, so right now it's April, I can try to go into May. You're gonna see there's not a lot of openings, but at least you can start seeing who's on the list. So I see a lot of chefs. I don't remember all of them, all of their names on the top of my head. I think this one's side dish chef, and then of course Choi Hyung-suk. He does have a couple of restaurants. He's the tall white spoon chef who made it into the final 8. And there's a lot of other chefs as well. Some of them, they didn't make it very far, so you're kind of who is that? So you don't remember who they are. But they are included on this list in case, you still want to try their food anyway. But there's a good mix of, people you might not remember because they got eliminated too early, and all the way up to, the final 8 and the winner right here. And actually, they changed the description of his restaurant to now it says CCW Winner's Restaurant. Again, spoiler, the winner was Napoli Mafia, and his restaurant is Via Toledo Pasta Bar, so it's an Italian place. You do have to know that his restaurant is very small. I think it seats only 6 to 8 people. As soon as he won the show, I was like, man, I really want to try his restaurant. So I downloaded Catch Table and I checked to see when his reservations were going to open. And at that time, it did tell me when it released. When I checked closer to my vacation dates, I didn't see those dates anymore. It didn't say anything about when his reservations released. I follow him on Instagram. So then I check his Instagram. He's feeding celebrities. He was feeding, actors and K-pop artists. So he is booked up, and I think he's just very busy with private events. And actually, something interesting when I logged in a few days ago just to kind of see what changes have been on Catch Table and kind of just to take a look. There was a note added on March 10, reservations will be temporarily suspended. He's just too booked up with private events and business matters, which understandably so. So that's why you couldn't and you still cannot book any reservations with Napoli Mafia's Italian restaurant, unfortunately. On Catch Table, it's really nice because it actually shows you how to make a reservation, and it will tell you when the reservation releases. So, for example, we want to go to Triple Star's restaurant. So if you scroll down, you click on it, you scroll down a little bit more, it says reservation opens at Korean Standard Time midnight on the first day of every month. So on midnight Korea time on May 1st, the reservations for June 1st to June 30th will open. So at that time, all the reservation slots for June will be released, and then it's just, first come, first served, and you just hope that you can get a reservation on the day and time that you want. But those reservations fly so fast. Like, I had no idea how fast they fly until I did it myself. They fly in like literally a minute, sometimes even less. So you gotta be quick, okay? So the reservation release schedule does differ for everybody. To Comic Book Chef, if you scroll down, his is actually a little bit more interesting. He releases it more frequently, kind of like more on a weekly schedule. So his restaurant is closed Sunday and Monday of every week. So that means his restaurant's only open from Tuesday to Saturday. But every Tuesday at midnight, the reservations will release for the following Tuesday through Saturday. So for example, on here, it says that the next Tuesday, April 22nd at midnight, the reservation for April 29 to May 3rd will be released. So for him, you get a little bit more chances. I mean, depending on how long you'll be in Seoul for. But it doesn't all release at once like Triple Star, where it's, the month of June is just all released in one batch. For Comic Book Chef, it is released weekly. So now we're going to get to the exciting part, which is talking about which restaurants I was able to successfully dine at, whether that was through reservation or as a walk-in. And yes, there was one restaurant I was able to go in as a walk-in, but that contestant didn't make it very far, and the restaurant is not in Seoul. But she is a very memorable contestant. That with oyster rice too, though, so I don't know where the rice is. Hopefully she remembers to serve us rice so we don't think it's also too salty. Now, the 4 that I was able to make a reservation for on Catch Table, the first one was Triple Star. Second one is Cooking Maniac. Third one is Chung Ji-sun. And the fourth one is Self-Made Chef. For all these restaurants, they will have their own video in the series. Another thing I wanted to mention is that even if you're not able to make a reservation, like let's say, this is like a last minute trip or you couldn't snag a reservation, don't fret, because Culinary Class Wars is still readily popping throughout Korea. We went there with the intention, okay, well, we have these reservations, we're gonna go there, we're gonna eat there, and that's that. But we were very surprised to see ads for like collaborations with Edward Lee and Napoli Mafia. And yes, we did eat there as well, and those will also have their own video. And not to mention, convenience store. Like, imagine you're just going to a convenience store to grab some water, some drinks, and all of a sudden you look at the aisle and you see a familiar face on a cup of ramen or a bag of chips. Yes, so there is also a good amount of convenience store products you can buy that is also affiliated with some of these Culinary Class Wars contestants. And yes, we also ate quite a bit of those, as well as brought some back as souvenirs. And I also tried eating some after we got back too. So the Culinary Class Wars adventure did not end after we left Korea. And with that said, I have already posted the first video, which is for Deepin Oksu, which is affiliated with Cooking Maniac. So you can go check that out right here. And then for all the other restaurants, you'll have to stay tuned. Okay, see you, bye.